Welcome back, guys, and today we're taking a look at a prototype, a watch being put together by some of our own, Kev G 1962 and Arm 1975. Both fellow enthusiasts, and we look forward to your inputs, particularly when it comes to how much you guys think this piece with these specs should cost. Now, there's going to be a link to Kev's channel and both of their Instagram accounts in the video description. Alright, let's jump into the review. That's coming up right after this. Now, this model is lovingly referred to as a hashtag no name, as they haven't decided on branding, which in a more romanticized way makes this feel like a watch that can belong to us all. Now, immediately noticeable is that this particular version is a titanium case, which initially I've not been a big fan of as I worry about getting it banged up. But I have worn it without babying it, and as you can see, it's held up pretty well. I know the slate gray tone of the titanium isn't going to appeal to everyone, and I think a brushed stainless steel case option would look pretty fantastic as well. Now, it has a very familiar layout for pieces using the 7750 movement, with the day-date complication finding a home at the 3 o'clock position and the 3 subdials at 6, 9, and 12, displaying a 12-hour counter, running seconds, and 30-minute counter respectively. The subdials are sunken on the dial with a beautiful circular pattern that adds some nice depth to the surface without making itself a focal point. All this in the applied polished hour markers and hands are set on a blue dial. On camera and inside the house, it's a relatively subdued blue dial that comes to life with a sunburst effect when it meets the sun. Along the outer perimeter of the hour markers, you find a tachometer scale, characteristic of several racing chronographs. Now, the chronograph seconds hand has a nice touch of red on its long tip, which gives a nice focal point as it sweeps around the dial. In regard to nighttime legibility, you aren't going to get the loomgasm we've all come to expect from a diver, but it's certainly more than enough to tell the time in low light conditions. My initial reaction to pulling the piece out of its case was to wish that the blue dial was a bit less subdued. Although I can appreciate its laid-back kind of vibe, I think a brighter blue makes pieces a bit more playful. The titanium case and muted blue almost gives this piece a racing tool watch kind of feel that wakes up when you take it outside. While I did enjoy this one on the beautiful WatchGecko Laguna leather band a majority of the time, come family time on the weekends, it went onto an 8/0 band to make it suitable for the unpredictability that life with kids can bring, and I thought it looked fantastic. Now, I will point out that the spring bar is a bit close to the case, making nylon NATOs one of the few compatible options to slide through without removing the spring bars. I would like to have been able to try some leather NATO options on here as well though. Now, the crown and pushers are flare-free and perform their duties without fail. The wide diameter of the crown is not only very functional for winding and time setting, but also has a nice visual appeal. Along the caseback is a display window, which is also sapphire and allows you a sneak peek at not only the movement, but the cam lever and lateral gear train system at work while engaging, disengaging, and resetting the chronograph. As the watch has no branding yet, the rotor's pretty sterile and it's in its original state. Now, I will mention that the nature of titanium being so light and conducive to carrying sound, you do hear and feel the rotor more than you would if this were set in a stainless steel case. Now, you can see I haven't removed the plastic from the back, but on the perimeter of the case back you see Swiss made proudly included, as that's the focus of the prototype with all Swiss parts. That brings me to one of the interesting considerations I'd love to hear your thoughts on, which is, what do you think the price tag should be? Now, I will point out comparable offerings with similar specifications, particularly on the movement, and highlight their gray market price tags. Now, I'd like to start off with everyone's favorite brand, Invicta. Now, before you spit out your mojito, coffee, or tea all over your mobile device, believe it or not, Glycine's new daddy does offer a Swiss Chronograph Pro Diver, the 18910 for 800 of your hard-earned US dollars. Next, we've got Tissot's T-Sport PRS 516, offered at $926. Then there's Hamilton's Khaki Keen Chronograph for $1,033. And the Sin 358 and 917, offered up for about $1,900 and $2,200 respectively. Now, each of these examples are powered by the 7750, with an average price tag of $992. So with all that in mind, what would you say the price tag for this piece should be? Obviously, a new venture doesn't have the history of some of the examples I used, and the added value of that's for each of you to decide individually. Now, full disclosure, I don't know what the price tag will be for this when it's available for the masses, and several micro brands, as this would be, offer their non-chronograph divers with Miota movements around the $550 price tag range. Now, I think as consumers, we generally accept a price tag around $1,000 for Swiss chronograph-based pieces, and whether or not we should is a topic for another video altogether. So my guess, a price tag that I think would suit this one would probably be around the $900 range. What do you guys think about this piece and its suggested pricing? I really would love to hear what you guys think about that, and this is where I think I'm gonna wrap it up. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. I have no idea if it helps or not, but it does make me happy. Now, if this is your first time here, don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. That's it for this one. All together now, CG out.